Well, a lot of us have moments in our lives where something happens and it causes us to maybe change the way we think about something. And then many times after that, we start to look at our lives differently. This moment of clarity causes us maybe to change the way we live our lives. And for me, that moment happened a number of years ago when I was coming home from work, seemingly normal day, and checking my mailbox, getting my mail out, and I was rifling through my mail, throwing away the ones that I didn't want to keep, and keeping my bills, of course. And as I was looking into the trash can, I noticed that there were some pieces of direct mail that essentially I was working on, I just finished at my job as a graphic designer at work. And it kind of pissed me off a little bit. It made me frustrated and upset because someone threw that stuff away, and I spent hours working on that. I took pride in what I made. And so, but then I thought, you know, listen, most likely a lot of the things that graphic designers like myself make are thrown away. And I don't really want that to be my legacy for my daughter and the rest of the world of just waste, beautiful trash. So it made me think about this one question here is, what are the impacts of the objects I create? And I didn't have an answer for that, but like a good designer, I did some research, and I found this word sustainability, which was just mentioned. But why is that important to the graphic designer? How does that relate to me as a professional? And I didn't really know the answer, so again, I continued to research. And one thing that I use all the time as a graphic designer is paper. And unfortunately, the paper industry is the fourth largest emitter of greenhouse gases. And faced with climate change, that's a big problem. Also, that direct mail, junk mail, that none of us want, 100 million trees are cut down every year to produce something that we don't even want. So it made me understand something very important at that point, is that designers are really good at making things. And sometimes we make things that solve a problem, but create other problems. And what we don't do good at is understanding the consequences of the things we make. And this is something that I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how. So I ended up quitting my job and going to graduate school, which many of us are doing right now. And I developed something called Re-nourish. And I had read a bunch of books and magazines and other websites, and I couldn't really find a central source of information to help myself and other graphic designers really have a means of practicing a greener graphic design field. So what is Re-nourish? Well, Re-nourish is a website, okay, but it's a partnership between three people, myself, Jess, and Yvette, and we really believe that because of all the problems that we're really facing as a society, this information needs to be free and open source. So it's an online, open source, one-stop, sustainable design resource. Moreover, what we're trying to do is facilitate a real discussion. And we hope that that discussion will institute change throughout the entire graphic design supply chain. And what does that mean? That's all the way from the lumberyard to the manufacturing, to the printers, to the graphic designer. We want to make sustainable design what design is, not merely what it could be. So we have resources on our site. We have tools like to find greener paper and printers and Green Your Studio. And case studies from designers from around the world send us that use our site, that inspire others to make better and more responsible social and environmental design work. I want to focus on one tool, the project calculator. And I'll give you a little case study that I did with my students. So every year at the School of Art and Design, we graduate about 100, 120, 150 designers and artists out into the world. We throw them a big party, which is an exhibition, and we document all the work that they do in a little catalog. So the first year we did it, I used post-consumer waste paper, which is paper that goes out into the world. People use it, recycle it back into the waste stream, and then made into new paper. So we used post-consumer waste to make catalogs for the past 2 years. We saved 77 trees the first year, 74 trees the next year. I want to focus on the little white book in the front. So this is an example of our project calculator 2. On the right side, you see a big rectangle with a grid on it. So what happens there is essentially that's a press sheet. So when graphic designers send work to the press, it's on a bigger sheet. So imagine those little rectangles being little postcards. How many little postcards can you fit on a big sheet of paper? That's what the printer does to save time, money, and waste. So we've developed this tool so you can kind of work at the end to save, waste and energy from the beginning. So you know from the very beginning how to design something to eliminate a lot of this waste. So this is what we do on the right side. And as you can see, as you go look down there, there's some tips. So we have these paper saving tips. So let's say this is a 5x9, or what is this? 8 by 10 piece, and you plot it out there. This is what it shows. There's some paper saving tips down there. You click on that, and you can see on the right side how you can fit more. Basically what that does. What's important about this? Well, it also allows you to see the actual carbon footprint of the decisions you made after you go through. So what does that mean? Well, we determined that if we just cut off 1 inch off the height of our booklet from the year before, which was just decided by tradition, we could save basically $1,000. So that's great. I'm very practical. It is sometimes unaffordable to obtain environmentally friendly materials, but at the same time, of course, you see what's the environmental savings. So it's a win-win situation. And that $1,000, of course, we can hire a better DJ for our students. And if you know, go to a party, the DJ makes everything. So in the end, the designer's in a very important position. The more knowledge and resource and tools they have as they stand between the client and the vendor, they can make a world of difference just by knowing a little bit more. And when all those decisions add up, they can really change the world. And that's really the legacy that I want to have for my children and the rest of us. Thank you.